Hi everyone. Today I'm very happy to share with you a beautiful Sri Lankan traditional sweet called Undu Walalu, specially made for the Sinhala and Tamil New Year. Unduvalu is delicious festive sweet prepared using a urid dal flour, rice flour, jaggery or sugar and authentic spices. These golden crispy rings are deep fried and coated with sweet syrup, giving them a perfect crunchy outside and soft, sweet inside texture. In Sri Lanka, making traditional sweet like Unduvalu is a very special New Year custom. Families prepare these treats together, share them with neighbors and friends, and celebrate the New Year with love, happiness, and together. In this video, I will show you easy step-by-step method to make this authentic Sri Lankan New Year sweet at home. So let's start cooking and bring the true festive flavor of Sri Lankan Urdu into your kitchen. The main ingredient we are using today is urid dal, also known as black gram. I will tell you a little bit more about these lentils later. For now, I have soaked the urid dal overnight and then drain all the water using the strainer. The next ingredient we need is half a cup of rice flour. I made this rice flour at home by using raw rice. We also need coconut milk for grinding the dal and making a batter. For the sugar syrup, I am using 2 cups of sugar. To give a beautiful traditional aroma, I will add a few crushed cardamom pods. We also need half a teaspoon of salt to mix with the dal. To make the urid dal more festive and colorful, you can use food coloring in the sugar syrup. I am using red color today, but you can use any color you like or simply skip. And finally, we need enough oil for deep frying the urid dal. Now add your soaked urid dal into the blender jar together with some coconut milk. Do not add all the coconut milk at once. First add about half of it and start grinding. Then slowly add more only if needed. We need to make a very thick and creamy paste. It should be smooth and not grainy, and it should be not be runny. The correct consistency is very important to get the perfect unduwalalu shape and texture. Once the dal is ground well, transfer the paste into a bowl. Now add the rice flour and start beating and mixing the batter well. Because the batter is thick, it can be difficult to use a whisk. So you can use spatula, fork or even your finger to mix and beat it properly. Urad dal is a small black lentils with white inside, and it is well known for being rich in protein, fiber, iron and many important nutrients. Because of these health benefits, urad dal is considered a very good for strength, energy and digestion. Before using Urid dal for this recipe, we need to soak it overnight in water. Soaking helps to soften the dal, make it easier to grind, and improves the nutritional value and digestibility. Once soaked well, it becomes perfect to use for making our traditional New Year sweet unduwalalu. For grinding the urid dal, I had about 3/4 cup of coconut milk, and that was not quite enough. So I added a little bit of water, about a quarter cup, to help grinding process. This means approximately you will need 1 cup of liquid to total of this recipe. That is coconut milk or coconut milk mixed with water. As a general guide ratio, I am using today 1 cup of urid dal, half a cup of rice flour and 1 cup of liquid. However, this can slightly vary depending on the quality of the dal and rice flour, so always adjust the liquid carefully. Remember, the most important thing is to get very thick, smooth, and creamy batter, not runny. That thick consistency will help you to make perfect traditional undualalu. Now you can see the grinding process is finished and the urid dal has become a smooth, thick and creamy paste. As I mentioned earlier, now we need to add the rice flour and salt to this paste and mix it very well. Beat the batter properly until becomes thick, smooth and well combined. This step is important to get the right texture for the making undivallu. Once the batter is mixed well, cover the bowl and let it rest in a warm place for at least 3-4 hours. This resting time helps the batter to become light and slightly fermented, which gives a better shape and taste when frying. After the batter has rested well, I will show you the next step of making traditional undualalu. To save the time and complete this video for you, I prepared this batter about 4 hours earlier. Now you can see how nicely the batter has rested and become thick, smooth and ready to use. After resting for 3-4 hours in a warm place, the batter gets the perfect texture for making traditional undualalu. So now let's move on to the next step. I am going to start shaping and frying the undualalu using this rested batter. Now I am going to use this sauce bottle to pipe the undualalu batter into the hot oil. If you don't have a sauce bottle, you can also use a piping bag or even a clean plastic bag. Just fill the batter inside and cut a small corner to make a nozzle. For this recipe, the batter is very thick. So I am cutting the nozzle of this bottle a little bigger to help the batter come out easily. This will make it much easier to shape the traditional ring pattern directly into the oil. Now everything is ready and we can start frying the utwalalu. Now I am showing you the thickness of the batter. As you can see, it is not runny at all. When I lift the batter up, it drops very slowly and heavily. This is the perfect consistency we need for making traditional undualalu. Now the next step is preparing the sugar syrup. Today I am using 2 cups of sugar and 1 cup of water. Put them together in a pan and cook on medium heat. Let the mixture come to boil and cook until the sugar fully dissolved and the syrup starts to thicken slightly. We are not looking for a very thick syrup, just slightly sticky consistency. You can check this by taking syrup between your finger. When you feel slightly sticky, that means the syrup is ready. At this stage, we also add crushed cardamom pods for a traditional flavor. If you like, you can also add food coloring to this syrup to make the urid dal more festive, colorful. Make sure not to make the sugar syrup too thick. If its syrup become very thick, it will only stick on the outside of the dual rings and will not soak in inside properly. At the same time, the syrup should not be too watery either. We need A perfect medium consistency, slightly sticky but still light enough to soak into the rings. Now I am going to gently squeeze the filled sauce bottle with the urad dal batter directly into the hot oil, shaping into a ring pattern. Be careful while piping the batter and try to make even circles so they cook nicely. Let the undualalu fry on medium heat until they are fully cooked. Turn them occasionally to ensure both sides cook evenly. Fry until they become beautiful golden brown in color and develop the crunchy texture on the outside. Once they are perfectly fried, take them out and drain the excess oil. Then they will be ready for the next step, dipping into the sugar syrup. Once the dualalu are nicely fried and golden brown, take them out of the oil and allow the excess oil to drip off for a few seconds. While they are still hot, transfer the undualalu straight into the prepared sugar syrup. Gently mix and turn them in the syrup so that each rinse gets evenly coated and absorb the sweetness. Then repeat the same process. After coating them well, place the undualalu on a wire rack to allow the excess sugar syrup to drip off. This will help them stay perfectly sweet, slightly glossy, and not overly sticky. Make sure the oil is hot before you start frying, but it should not be too hot. If the oil is very hot, too many bubbles will form around the batter and you will not be able to see the ring shape clearly. This can also make the undualalu cook too fast on the outside and remain uncooked inside. So the best to start frying on medium heat. Once you have piped the rings into the oil and they begin to hold their shape, you can slightly increase the heat to help them cook evenly and become nicely golden and crispy. Maintaining the correct oil temperature is the key to getting perfect traditional undualalu. As you can see, while piping the batter into the oil, I am keeping a little space between each ring. Some people like to pipe the batter very tightly so the rings are packed close together. But personally, I don't prefer that method. When the rings are too close, they can stick together and become soggy or too chewy inside. By leaving a small gap between each ring, the hot oil can circulate properly, helping the unduvalu fry evenly and become nicely crispy. Also, when they are fried separately like this, they can absorb the sugar syrup better, giving a perfect sweet taste and texture. In Sri Lanka, during the Sinhala and Tamil New Year, families prepare many traditional sweets like this and share with them neighbors, relatives, and friends. This beautiful tradition reminds us about sharing, caring, and kindness and loving one another. Here is my beautiful homemade undualalu. They are perfectly golden, crispy on the outside and sweet and soft inside. Now I will break one and show you the inside texture. As you can see, there is a hollow space inside the ring, like a small tube, and this tube is nicely filled with sugar syrup. This is the special technique for making perfect undualalu. When you gently squeeze, you can see the sweet syrup coming out, which means the unduvalalua cooked properly and have absorbed the sweetness beautifully. This is how you can check whether your unduwalalu are perfect. Crispy outside, soft inside, and well soaked with syrup. Now I am going to pack these beautiful unduwalalu into small containers to share with my friends and loved ones. Sharing traditional sweet like this is a very special part of celebrating Sinhala and Tamil New Year, spreading happiness, kindness, and togetherness. For this new year, I have also prepared another traditional sweet, Sri Lankan dodol. You can find the full dodol recipe on my channel, so please go and check it out as well. I truly hope you will try making these traditional Sri Lankan New Year sweet at home and enjoy them with your family and friends. Thanks for watching.